Hey, it's Clay, and welcome to the Follow Through, where we talk business, your business. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern, we're live on Facebook, and you can also catch every episode on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. All right, let's get right into it. Enjoy the show. It's been great showing up, sharing a little bit every day, hoping you guys are getting some value, and really looking forward to sharing this little tidbit, this little secret weapon that you should start thinking about and using in 2026 to help your company, help your company grow, help your company stay consistent. Just getting people to call you and creating those relationships. Really appreciate you taking the time to join me, your time out of your day. Hoping you're getting a little bit of value from it. I hope everybody's looking forward to their day. I'm sure you all have great plans. Eat some great food tonight. So what I want to, the next gift, the next little tidbit of information, the next little, not really even a secret, because it's definitely not a secret. But the next thing on the ticket of what you really should start thinking about either starting or maybe doing more of heading into 2026 is another way to keep yourself top of mind, a way to keep yourself noticed, and a way to remind customers. And I feel like it's one of those things that kind of gets forgotten, or maybe it's just not used correctly, right? So everyone knows about it, and they've tried it, but they do it once, maybe twice, and then they stop using it because it just doesn't work. And it's a little bit more expensive than the one we talked about on Monday. So what I'm going to talk about today, and what we're going to hit on a little bit, is an older way of communicating. We all know every day we get tons of text messages on our phone. People are calling us. The noise on our cell phones is loud. We talked about email on Monday. People's inboxes are full. And while I still feel email is a huge thing to continue doing, and if you're not doing it, you need to start doing it. But there's a lot of noise in our inboxes. So the next thing on your list that if you're not doing, or if you are doing it, maybe start doing a little bit more, maybe even doing it a little bit differently. We're going to talk a little bit about that today, but it's these guys right here. Good old postcards and snail mail. So today we're going to talk a little bit about and dive into a little bit about good old physical mail and why we're seeing it work again. So, again, touching on why digital is so noisy, and I touched on it again, but you're getting constant notifications everywhere. It's endless content. You're constantly fighting for attention in the digital world now. Social media, emails, people's phones, text messaging, and the attention is low. So you have to break through that noise. And when you do digital, you have to be really different to stand out. You have to be, it's not really better, but you need to be different so that people notice you in the digital world. And what we're seeing using physical mail is that not everyone is using it anymore. So physical mail, getting something in the mail, getting an actual physical piece of paper is cutting through that noise. It feels personal because now this day and age, you can actually craft a postcard to have someone's name on it. And people love to see their names. They love to see their names. It makes it feel so much more personal, and they're more likely to actually hold on to it. So if they see that piece of mail and it's something that they want to do or something they're thinking about, they'll set it down, and maybe it sits on their counter, their kitchen counter or whatever. It doesn't really disappear. Whereas email, text messaging, even social media, you see it, it triggers your brain. It's more of a reminder. Digital is more of a reminder, but a physical piece of mail will stick around and sit around, and people will go back to it. And it gets noticed. If you can remember, and I'm sure you can, but even like maybe 20 years ago, 23 years ago, our mailboxes were so full of stuff. It was almost like the email. You get hundreds of, I feel like you get hundreds of postcards, all kinds of magazines, and you would just toss it out. It's kind of like email now, right? It was kind of like email is now. You get so many emails, you just kind of quickly filter through. But now our mailboxes aren't as full. Most of the time you're just getting bills. And even if you're not getting bills in there, you're getting a couple pieces of mail. You're not getting stacks and stacks. I mean, usually this time of year, you get so many magazines, or not even magazines, but yeah, I guess magazines or catalogs or whatever you want to call them this time of year, where vendors and places are trying to sell you things, and they send you their magazines. Well, my mailbox was definitely not as full as it has been in the past. So there's not as much noise in the mailboxes anymore. And like I mentioned, physical mail gets remembered. You take this piece of mail and people are going to see it and they're going to say, oh, look, I kind of like this. I kind of need this. And they might keep it. And they're going to keep it for when they're ready. And they're going to have your piece of mail. So your mailbox is definitely not fighting for as much attention as your digital mailbox. Good morning, Ben. How are you, man? Thanks for joining. Appreciate it. So postcards are definitely not even just postcards, but sending out handwritten cards, sending out an actual letter, a piece of mail that they have to open can even be more effective sometimes than a postcard, because they actually have to physically open it and it's addressed to them and it actually has a return address on it. People are going to open it. So they're going to get reminded of you. Or even if they're either going to get reminded of you or they're going to introduce to you as a business that they might actually need. Hey, good morning, Zachary. How you doing this morning? So the next thing I want to kind of touch on is how, not really how to do this, but how to maybe even change your mindset of sending postcards. So a lot of times we're not using postcards right now to introduce people to our companies unless it's targeted. I feel like postcards, really to be effective and really to get a really good return on your investment, the postcards need to be targeted. So and they don't need to be fancy. Do not make your postcards fancy. They need to be bold. They need to quickly say what you're trying to say and the information that you want, and your contact information, or even now you can use QR codes, which is awesome because you can put a QR code on your postcards that they can go to a specific landing page. And now you can kind of track your postcards, and you can easily and digitally track your postcards and see who's contacting you from the postcards or who's actually reading your postcard because they're going to your landing page. So where was I? So now I lost my space. Targeting. So if you are in let's start with a niche business. If you're in a really niche business, and the business I was in was actually creating, constructing and maintaining koi ponds. It's a very niche business. It was not a company that everyone had a pond. There's the saying, everybody wants a pond, they just don't know it yet. But if you're sending out blanketed postcards, you're probably in a niche business, you're probably not going to see a huge return on your investment from that postcard. Because people see it, they're like, whatever. They see pictures. You might get that one or two that keep it. But right now, in more of a niche business, we are using postcards to remind people and then also to reactivate your list. So And by reactivate, I mean, like if a lead has reached out to you, we're using postcards to remind them of you. If you have past clients that haven't done work for you in a while, we're using postcards to reactivate them as well, to say, hey, you need blah, blah, blah. And it could be to any kind of service. So no matter what kind of service industry you're in, if you have recurring services, using those postcards to remind them that they need a service is a great way to do it, because there's not as much noise in there. Ben, bold postcard head. Spend your money on a trip to visit the in-laws or on a pond you'll love forever. Interesting headline, Ben. That'll definitely get some reaction for sure. So in a niche business, we're targeting, and we're using postcards to target. If you're in a business where everyone kind of needs everyone needs your services, let's say you're an electrician, a plumber, everyone needs electrical services at some point. Everyone is probably going to need a plumber at some point. There's roofing, siding, decks. That can be more of a blast, but your return still is not going to be as much, but it's still going to be effective because the noise is not there. And I think you'll see a really good return on postcard mailings and even letters. I think letters might even be better for people to open things up. But postcards are a really great way to remind people of the services they may need. So again, target and use your list. And a lot of times what happens too, and people don't use postcards or they're not using them correctly, is because they don't have a clean customer list to actually send to. So if you're not documenting your leads, if you're not segmenting your leads or even your customers at that point, you can't target them. For example, and I keep going back to this because I'm a pond guy, or I was a pond guy, but we did a service that was called spring cleanings. And I'm just going to use this as a quick example. And you can take this to your whatever service business you're in. But from a pond cleaning standpoint, if you don't have a really clean list of people's ponds who you've cleaned out in the past, it will take you forever to try and find that list. So what you want to do is start creating and documenting and using software to segment and create the list, because once you start doing that, you can create lists very quickly. You can get those postcards out very quickly, and it's not going to take you a ton of time to do it. And you start getting your list even cleaner. You can start automating that so that you have postcards set up, and your postcards go out the same time every year, same message, and it filters back 2 to 3 years of people you've done work for, and now you're not having to think about it. And consistently, on a consistent basis, every year you are marketing over and over and over again. It's hitting the same time. And again, and I've talked about this a lot over the past couple of weeks, it's all about consistency. It's creating consistency. So having a clean list is a very important factor in sending out these postcards and not making it a complete pain in the ass for you. Because if you don't have a clean list, it's going to be a complete pain to find that list, to get that list to where it needs to go, and then send that postcard out. And the postcard can be the same. Maybe you make a couple tweaks here and there every year, but it doesn't have to be a different postcard every single year. So this is kind of a short one today, not super long. Use postcards. Think about how you can use them, and initially think about how you can use them in a targeted standpoint. Don't just blanket send postcards out. Have a purpose for them, have a reason for them, have an outcome for them, and they will work. And use a QR code. QR codes are awesome. We've been able to put QR codes on them, and like I said before, putting QR codes on them and being able to track. You can track your postcards and see where they're coming from. Pick one postcard, grab a list, and send them out. And don't just send them once. If you're trying to re-engage people, send them 3, 4, 5 times, because you never know what's going to happen. So many times people send these postcards out, and then 2 or 3 years later, they're reaching out because they're ready, or because they're like, yes, I'm ready to do this. So, hey, thanks a lot for joining, everybody. Appreciate all of the support. Thank you so much, everybody. Before you go, if you want to learn more about what we're all about, head on over to kairocx.com. You can reach out to us there or just dig in and learn more about how we can help businesses and help businesses like yours at Kairo CX. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on The Follow Through.